Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Feels funny to have Monday morning in the midst of all this, right? Like this is a new week and what? We're supposed
I
to be
know.
excited or what? I don't know.
I specifically went to bed in pajamas that looked like clothes last night so that I could just come
I
right
love
into this.
I love it.
Still in my
Yeah.
PJs. Yeah.
I've definitely had a few days where I've worn what I wore to bed the next day and then the next night as well. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why bother changing?
I know. It can get dangerous though. It's a slippery slope. So,
Oh my gosh. So your book, The Upside of Being Down, I love this book. You were on my podcast. It's coming out tomorrow. How mental health struggles led to my greatest successes in work and life. What has it been like with this book coming out just before,
mm.
as everything is going down in the world?
Um, it- I mean, I would hate to say it's been great because that would make me sound like a real D-bag. But I'm a first-time author, so I don't really have anything to like contextualize it with. So I was sort of actively going into the experience pre-pandemic with very little expectation, which I think allowed me to just pivot into what this ended up being, which was like a complete social media, time to connect. I mean, I don't know, I feel really grateful. I feel like the book has been really well received by the people that I wanted to receive it well, which are like the people that are in my community on Instagram, first and foremost. They had a huge hand in getting me the ability to write a book. But it's interesting because, and this definitely is not on the podcast because we didn't know what was happening at that point when we recorded it. But um, the amount of people, I mean, it's in the thousands now that have said this was the perfect time for your book to come out. Which perfect is such a weird word, especially when it relates to what's going on now. But I'm a huge believer in stuff like that. So um, I feel good about it. I certainly wish people could have like happened upon it in a bookstore. That's why we made a bright yellow cover so that you would not be able to not see it. But this feels good too. So
Well, I mean, I think perfect is a pretty apt word. Not only do you talk about things that can apply to people not in this situation, like the journey to getting your correct diagnosis, which someone just commented and had a similar experience, all sorts of mental illness. I feel like being stuck at home, like for my own anxiety and like depression and whatever else, everything is bubbling up and it's hard to manage. Are you feeling the same?
yeah,
What is it like for you personally going through this?
no, I feel fine. And I was talking to I talk about it at the end of the book, but I've been going to a Reiki healer for a long time, which sounds like, but it works for me and I believe in it. And she's also just a very wise woman. But I think in some ways I was preparing this. I sort of had this idea that I really wanted to eradicate my anxiety a couple of years ago. And so I keep calling her being like, I'm sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like I feel okay. Like I feel all the things, sad, scared, but I haven't really had any anxiety. I mean, I think it sets me up to be able to like be that steady thing for people. Um, so it really hasn't, I hate to say that, but it just really hasn't, I've just been able to roll with it. I mean, I really do. I feel like a lot of that is in the book and I didn't know what I was writing it for. My friends are like, are you a witch? How did you know? And I'm like, well, I certainly didn't know, but I did feel inclined to want to help people. And you and I talked about this a lot when I was with you. But I think the mental health issue is an important thing to raise because you don't have to suffer with bipolar disorder or anxiety to have compromised mental health, especially in this time. Like it has nothing to do with mental illness. It's like, so, and I talk about that too. And so, now is a great time to have this forced introspection, whether you're doing that alongside my book or any other book or watching a documentary on something. Like I just feel like there's a huge opportunity for all of us to like be faced with those anxieties and try and peel them away a little bit while we have all the spare time.
Well, I love how you have become this like beacon of light. I mean, I think what you were saying about your yellow color cover is so apt. I mean, it's not just that, it's also your daily Instagram posts are like so happy and joyous, and your whole branding behind Bando. It's like you are trying to just bring happiness and joy to everybody as you go as like your mission. So
Yeah.
this is a perfect setting for that. We need that.
It's strange. It certainly is a strange thing. And also, here's to say, I mean, I was sobbing the night before. You know, um, it's not that I'm just like, this isn't affecting me. Like, it's affecting me in the most profound ways. And I'm sure it's not even done yet for any of us. But yeah, I think it's a strength of mine to be able to do that and be that for people. And it is so much about why we created Bando and why we've evolved it to stand for that. So I feel like me personally and the brand are facing like a huge opportunity to really step into that and be that for people when they really need it. Products and books aside, you know, but just it's a framework we've all operated within for so long that I just keep telling everyone, like, now's the time. Like, what we wanted to do, the door is open for us to be that for people. So
Well, I love how you've really helped remove some of the stigma of mental illness and your work towards that. It's so important. I know I mentioned that I'm involved with the Child Mind Institute, and there that's like one of the
yeah.
main goals is getting people just to be open about it and talk about it and not feel like it's something that they have to hide if they're going through it. And books like yours and how you come out so openly about the struggles that you've had and how you cope with them and how getting the right diagnosis is so important. It's all just so helpful to not just people who, I mean, just really to anybody struggling in any way, which is, I'm going to say everybody.
The landscape that this situation is creating for all of us, well outside of my book, is that um, everyone's going to feel pain collectively, even the people that were afraid to express it or have it expressed around them. And so when we get back to our lives, the rules are going to be different. And I think that, not that like emotions and mental health is going to be completely destigmatized, but talking about it, I think, will have become a little bit more of a norm. I mean, I've seen it tick up quite a bit in the last week. I mean, even just in the very little bit of news that I watch, there's usually some little snippet about that. And so I think for anyone who feels comfortable talking about it now is really the time, because there's a real opportunity for us to kind of shift, make a much quicker shift in the landscape than had we just been going the way we're going. Like there's a real potential for a lot of change on the other side, of a lot of positive change. So perspective right now is going to be very important, you know. And also, I would not watch the news that much. I mean, I do morning. The New York Times is like a morning briefing and an evening briefing, and you can just skim it and do what you will, and then just go on with your day. It's just much less triggering and disturbing that way. The information, it actually doesn't change over like a 3-day period. So
just need the highlights.
Yeah.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for sharing everything, and keep up your Instagram posts because they keep me going and I love them. And thanks for your book. And for everybody who joined maybe later, Jen's book is The Upside of Being Down: How Mental Health Struggles Led to My Greatest Successes in Work and Life. Jen Gotch, so be sure to get it. Okay.
Thank you, Zibby.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Bye,
Okay.
Jen.
Bye.